Hi, I'm Tova. I am a registered associate marriage and family therapist, super passionate about using creative tools and processes to help adults grow in various areas of their lives and achieve well being in body, mind, and spirit. Today, I want to do a super quick video about weight loss. And the topic of this video is kind of talking briefly about the role that managing carbohydrates can play in weight loss success. So, first of all, if you are trying to lose weight in a healthy way, um, it can be really helpful to have an established framework for healthy eating that you use to guide your eating choices and that you can make modifications to so your eating plan is personalized and flexible, that it fits you rather than being a very prescriptive and rigid set of restrictive rules that you're following. So I do have an online workshop for adults who live in California that does focus on helping participants create their personalized nutrition plan. So please email me at the email on my website if that's something that you'd be interested in. I do have this deck. It's the Whole Health Card Deck available on Amazon and Etsy that has a lot of different types of practices that can support wellness and well-being. But one of the practices is education. And this actually focuses on educating yourself about different ways of eating that are grounded in sound nutrition. So that's a really important first step in developing your weight loss eating plan. And I really want to emphasize the importance of seeking out sources on nutrition who are qualified in terms of education and professional training and or who present scientific evidence for their claims. So, definitely absolutely do not suggest like crash diets or an eating plan developed by some internet person who has absolutely no education or qualifications on nutrition or healthy eating. Um, but there are a lot of different, books and programs and things out there that are developed with research and from qualified professionals. And so, at their core, a lot of these healthy eating plans either explicitly or implicitly limit carbs. So, I'm not going to go into the metabolic implications of that, but an excellent starting point to manage your weight at a physiological level is to manage your carbs. And there are numerous ways to do that. I'm going to just briefly go over three of them. These are, starting points for you to do your own research or figure out what's going to work for you. Or, kind of think about this. And then if my workshop might be something that could be a helpful next step with you, please reach out. So strategy one to manage your carbs is to just eat less of them. You don't need to necessarily track that in a detailed way. Just get familiar with the amount of carbs in the foods that you're eating and reduce them, cut back. A second strategy is to swap out refined and simple carbs for healthier sources like brown or wild rice or quinoa instead of white rice. Strategy three is definitely my favorite, and that's to cut out all added sugar and processed refined carbs. So that includes sugar sweetened beverages like juices and soda. There's a lot of complexity to each of these steps. One, just very obviously, or maybe not so obviously, but a big one is that manufacturers list sugar by lots of different names in the ingredients list. So it's not just going to be sugar as an ingredient. It could be called something else. So depending on which step resonates with you, it might require a little bit more research on your end. So that's one just very mechanical challenge. But other reasons are just emotional and behavioral when it comes to changing the types of foods that we're eating. But really, like I was saying, many healthy and sound eating plans incorporate at least one of those strategies, one of those above three strategies in some form. And that's why it's so important to find a healthy eating plan that seems doable to you. And then to go a step further and make it even more sustainable, I invite you to just think about giving yourself permission to make at least one small change so that eating plan fits you better, kind of so that it feels like a little bit of an exhale. It gives you some room to breathe in a sense. And again, this is what my workshop is totally set up to help participants do to like identify an eating plan and identify at least one small change that they can make to it to make it a little bit more personalized and more flexible. Um, and some other things as well. But some good carb management eating plans that are described in books that you might want to check out as that starting point for a foundational nutritional plan are, first of all, Atkins, specifically Dr. Atkins' New Diet Revolution, which introduces the idea of net carbs. He also has like Atkins for Life, and there's the Atkins 100 Eating Solution books out. The Atkins website offers guidance on different eating plans for 20 net carbs, 40 net carbs, or 100 net carbs. Um, there can be some stuff mixed in with processed food products. So I would suggest being like mindful around that. You know, it's probably not a great idea to eat a lot of processed food, even if it calls itself low carb or low net carb or whatever. But just be mindful of that food product marketing in some of those books and some of those Atkins resources, and really any book or any resource. Um, just being mindful of that and really sticking to real whole unprocessed foods as much as possible is really an important intention to have around eating. Um, so there's that. There's also South Beach, including there's a book that came out a few years ago called The Keto Friendly South Beach. Again, even with all these resources that I'm telling you as I'm saying them, I mean, there's just so many ways that I personally would tweak and modify these things. I would not use any of these as written. There's also a book called Always Hungry by Dr. David Ludwig. There's a book called Why We Eat Too Much by Dr. Andrew, I believe, Jenkinson. There's a Whole30 or paleo types of approaches. If you're more interested in a whole food, plant-based, vegan way of eating, there are books by Joel Fuhrman like Eat to Live or Eat for Life, which are largely whole food, plant-based ways of eating. There's also different ways of tracking without being super strict about it. There's a lot of ways to modify things so that they're flexible and doable and ultimately effective for weight loss. So in summary, today's quick tip for weight loss is to find a sustainable way to manage your carbs.